For 6 months, the press has been telling you Florida is about to abolish your property tax, that homeowners are finally winning, that the relief is coming. They've been calling it the property tax war, the biggest fight over a homeowner tax in 50 years. Well, 2 months ago, the relief died quietly in a Senate committee with no hearing, no vote, and no one in the room willing to put their name on it.
This is ill-advised.
This no vote is for you?
It is defunding the police, and it is defunding the fire department.
As of this morning, Florida property tax laws are exactly the same as they were last May. Nothing changed. Not for you, not for your neighbor, not for one homeowner in the entire state. So what actually happened?
80 yeas, 30 nays, Mr. Speaker.
Show the bill passes.
Well, February 19th, Florida's House passes HJR 203 by a vote of 80 to 30, phases out non-school property taxes on every primary residence in the state. House Speaker Daniel Perez calls it
Be the most aggressive legislation ever passed by a legislative chamber on property taxes in the history of the United States.
Big speech, bigger headlines. March 13th, the bill dies in Senate Appropriations. No hearing, no vote, no fingerprints. April 23rd, Governor DeSantis, who spent a year demanding full elimination, quietly removes property tax from the special session agenda, replaces it with redistricting and vaccines. May 9th, the bill on your kitchen table hasn't moved $1. Now hold on. The easy read here is that, hey, just one chamber blocked another chamber and that's just politics. But is that what this is? Because here's what I've been thinking about since this went down and what's happened since, which I'll get to. But if the same play kills the same bill in just one state, okay, maybe, that's politics. If it happens in 2 states, maybe a coincidence. So what do you call it when the exact same sequence, promise big, kill quiet, substitute worse, runs in 6 states inside the same 6 months? Feels like something else, doesn't it? Like the death to property tax relief, it's spreading. And who actually killed HJR 203? And why? What's getting passed in its place while nobody's watching? And why is the homeowner who appeals their assessment this month going to win, whether the relief ever comes or not? Now, I can't prove this part, and I can't show you a leaked memo. There isn't one. There's no transcript. There's no smoke-filled room. There's no whistleblower to call out. But the actions are speaking so loudly. Does it really matter what anybody says? I mean, I can show you what I'm seeing, and then you can decide for yourself. Because this isn't really about Florida's failed bill. It's about a 6-month performance, run on 6 different stages, designed to look like reform, end in nothing, and then quietly redirect the tax burden onto the homeowners who believed the show. A magic show, really. A big wave with one hand, while the other hand quietly reaches into the pocket of the guy in the front row and snatches his dough. And whether you spot the trick decides whether the assessment notice landing in your mailbox in the next 30 days protects your equity for the next 30 years, or quietly pays for what's coming next. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what Florida's House actually passed and how the Senate killed it without leaving anything behind. No evidence, no signature, no nothing. I'll show you the 5 other states running the exact same play right now, the substitution that's quietly passing while the elimination dies, and what the trick looks like through the magnifying glass at your own kitchen table. And then the one move every homeowner in America can make in the next 30 days that pays off whether the political theater eventually delivers something real or never does. I'm Matt Terrio. I've been buying houses for almost 20 years and helping homeowners build active defense around the equity they've worked their whole lives to put away. If you've been paying attention long enough to feel like the system isn't really fighting for you, you're in the right place. So let's start. Who actually killed HJR 203? Officially, nobody. And that's the trick. HJR 203 didn't get voted down. The Senate didn't hold a floor debate and reject it. Nobody put their name on stopping the most aggressive property tax bill in American history. The Senate Appropriations Committee just never put it on the calendar. They never gave it a hearing. They never took a vote. The session clock just ran out on March 13th. And on March 14th, the bill was dead, killed by the calendar. That's not how bills die when nobody wants them dead. The chairman of Senate Appropriations is Ed Hooper, Republican. Same party as the House Speaker who passed the thing. Same party as the governor who spent a year demanding it. Hooper said the day before session ended that the Senate would introduce its own version, but it won't be as generous. Well, that version, it never showed up. Not in March, not in April, as of this week, still hasn't. And then there's DeSantis, same governor who in 2025 publicly told Floridians that property taxes are basically rent to the government to live on your own property. Same governor who dismissed every smaller proposal as a half measure. The day HJR 203 passed the House, he posted, "Better to do it right than to do it quick." 2 months later, he convened a special session that could have revived the bill, and he removed property tax from the agenda, replaced it with vaccines and redistricting. The same legislature that couldn't agree on this also failed to pass a state budget. Second year in a row in overtime. They couldn't agree on the price of paper towels for the Capitol, but you were supposed to believe they were going to abolish a $13 billion tax line? That's not gridlock. That's a magic show. One hand passes the bill in February, and then the other hand quietly suffocates it in March. Disappointing, really, but it doesn't stop in Florida. It doesn't stop with Republicans. It isn't running this play alone. So let's pull up a map. Trace it with me. November 2024, North Dakota voters get a real ballot measure. Initiated Measure 4, eliminate property taxes on assessed value, full stop. The most aggressive vote any state has had in a couple generations. The result? It was defeated, 63% to 37%. And the lawmaker behind it, Rick Becker, says he'll come back with another measure. Well, 6 months later, he drops it. April 2026, Georgia. Both chambers spend 6 months fighting over property tax elimination. Both proposals fail. Then, on the last night of the session, lawmakers do something only a state legislature would think of. They take a hemp farming bill, strip out everything inside it, and stuff a property tax workaround into the empty shell. They pass it at midnight. Homeowners get a small credit. Everyone in the state pays a brand new 1% sales tax to fund it. Also April 2026, last month, Iowa passes Senate File 2472. The bill caps how much local government revenue can grow each year. Sounds like protection, until you notice it doesn't touch the assessor at all. Your appraised value can keep climbing. Your bill can keep growing. The cap just limits how much the county can pocket in aggregate. The Democrats arguing against it said it out loud on the floor. The bill does nothing to address the actual cause of increasing property taxes, which is rising valuations. They voted no. Most of their party voted no. The bill passed anyway. Same shell game, different state. Ohio, ballot abolition initiative. Failing signatures. Likely won't qualify for November. Indiana, going the opposite direction. SB 1 is phasing out the flat homestead deduction entirely. Starts shrinking from $48,000 in 2026, gone by 2030. They're shifting the relief into a percentage formula buried so deep, most homeowners don't even know how to read it. The state legislature, with the most fiscal conservatives in the Midwest, is making it harder for homeowners on purpose. They're not even pretending. And Florida, the headline of the whole movement, dies in committee with no signature, no fingerprints. 6 states, 6 months, same play, same outcome. Politics or something else? When the same script kills the same bill across 6 different state houses, Republican-controlled, Democrat-controlled, red state, purple state, and what's left standing is always a workaround that costs the homeowner more on the back end. That's not 6 accidents. That's a system protecting itself. Property tax is the largest, most stable revenue line in American local finance, about $700 billion a year. The system that depends on it doesn't lose 6 battles in a row by accident. So if the elimination of property taxes is dying on cue across 6 states, what's quietly passing in its place? And is it already headed to your state? Here's what's actually getting signed into law. Number 1, the 1% county sales tax. Georgia's SB 33 lets counties impose it specifically to fund homestead exemption credits, marketed to voters as relief. What it actually is, trade your property tax cut for a sales tax hike on every gallon of gas, every grocery run, every prescription you fill. Every dollar you spend, taxed slightly more to fund the rebate they use to convince you to vote for it. Number 2, the expiring rebate check. North Dakota's $1,600 homestead credit zeroed out property tax for 50,000 households. Sounds great. Buried in the fine print, it has to be reauthorized every 2 years by the legislature. A poll out of Florida-based Kaplan Strategies found 67% of North Dakota homeowners are already worried about losing it, because every 2 years, the same legislature that just gave it to them gets to take it away if they want to. Number 3, the credit that doesn't lower your assessment. Texas just shipped its 2026 reform package, $140,000 homestead exemption, plus $60,000 senior exemption, plus an HB 8 rate cut. Average savings, $1,762 a year. Sounds incredible, but here's the trick. None of those touch your appraised value. The county assessor can keep raising your appraisal, and somewhere between 30 and 60% of properties in Texas are already overappraised, and you're still paying on the inflated number. The rebate rides on top. The cap rides on top. The credit rides on top. The baseline keeps growing underneath all of it. Your relief gets eaten up by your assessment before it ever reaches your paycheck. Property tax went down. Sales tax went up. Fees went up. Insurance premiums went up. The total bill went up. So what does this trick actually do to a homeowner? Well, pull out your bill. Let me show you the math. Take a homeowner with a $400,000 home. Property tax bill currently $4,800 a year. That's roughly the national average for that home value. Reform passes in their state. The headline says, property tax relief for homeowners. The check arrives, $250 rebate. They save $250 on their property tax bill. Now the substitution lands. The state passes a 1% county sales tax to fund the rebate. The Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks consumer spending. Average household spends about $63,000 a year. Roughly $40,000 of that is taxable. 1% on $40,000 is $400. Subtract $250 rebate minus $400 in new sales tax. Net loss, $150 a year, every year, for as long as the substitution is on the books, which is forever because sales taxes don't expire. The rebate, that sunsets in 2 years. But that's just the visible math. Here's what's actually happening underneath. It's Tuesday afternoon. The county assessor's office runs your address through the new aerial scan. CoreLogic and EagleView use AI to map every property in the country from above. They flag the new patio your neighbor built, the pool you put in 3 summers ago, the addition you got permitted in 2022. Your assessed value gets bumped from $380,000 to $410,000. You didn't sell anything, you didn't cash anything out, you didn't touch a thing, but the appraisal went up 8% in one cycle. Your credit is calculated against the new number. The substitution works on the new number. Every cap they passed only caps growth from the new number. The inflated baseline ate the entire benefit before you even saw the check. The wallet came out of the pocket. The audience never saw the hand. That's the trick. That's the real game. And the homeowner who didn't appeal their assessment is the one funding everyone else's substitution. So, what's the move? Well, 3 things. 2 weeks. That's it. First, you've got to appeal your property tax assessment this cycle, not next cycle, this one. The window in most states is 30 to 60 days from the notice landing in your mailbox. In Texas, the deadline is May 15th. In Florida, it's the truth and millage period this summer. Pull 3 actual recent sales from your block. Compare them to your assessed value. If you're high, and statistically you probably are, file the protest. Show up with comps and photos. Homeowners who actually show up win the majority of appeals in most jurisdictions. This is the move that wins regardless of what happens in your state legislature. Reform passes, your credit calculates off a lower baseline. Reform fails, you're paying less anyway. You can't lose this trade. I built a resource for this at fightmyassessment.com. Link is in the description. It walks you through the exact process in your state and give you the deadline by deadline for each state as well. Second move, bulletproof your homestead exemption. Every state running the playbook is using a homestead status as the gating mechanism for relief. If your homestead isn't perfectly documented, name on the deed matching your address, declaration filed, exemption confirmed in writing, none of the substitution benefits even reach you. One typo, one mismatch, and you're outside the window when the rebate hits. Third move, get out in front of the substitution. When property tax compresses anywhere, by reform, by appeal, by accident, every dollar of cash flow on a rental property goes up in that state. Same rent, lower expense, higher net. That's inflation arbitrage at the local level, the fortress play. The smart money is already buying single-family rentals in the exact states running this playbook. Why would they be doing that? Because they win regardless of which way the political dust settles. If the reform passes, their rentals cash flow harder. If the reform fails, they bought below replacement cost from sellers who couldn't hold on. Either path, they win. So those are the 3 moves. 2 weeks. Build a war chest while everyone else is still waiting for the magic to be real. Some of this, it's a pain, I know, and I can't help but feel like it's by design so that hopefully you'll choose one of 2 paths. For them, preferably path A, where you wait. You watch your state run Florida's playbook. You pay your assessment as is. You miss the appeal window. You get a $250 rebate, and then you pay $400 more in sales tax a year, every year. You get locked in at this year's inflated assessment for the next 30 years. You're the audience that gasped on cue. The path they're counting on you not taking is path B. You appeal this cycle. You document the homestead. You position cash flow for the substitution that's already coming. You build active defense around the equity sitting in your home right now. You stop watching the wave hand and you keep your other hand in your pocket on your wallet. That's the path you want to take. The magic show isn't gonna stop. While the state's been running this trick on your property tax bill, there's another level of deception going on at your bank, specifically with what they're not supposed to tell you about your mortgage. And that's why I pulled this one out here for you to watch next. The state and the banks have been working on the same homeowner for years. It's tough to beat them if you don't know what to look out for. So we don't hide, we don't ignore, we defend. Watch this one now. God loves you, so do I. Take care.